Hello everybody, it is me once again building on this absolute nightmare of an idea I had, which was to build the Millennium Falcon Collector's Edition. And my partner made me realize last night that part of the reason why it's not working is A, I'm missing two crucial pieces and had to improvise, and B, some of the Legos weren't even measured properly. There are several firearms that are supposed to be part of the Lego set that aren't even in the Lego set. Maybe because guns are mostly banned in China where the Lego set came from, I don't know. But either way around, this is what we're dealing with. Just right over here, so to catch up to speed on last time, this should be adhesed and is not because I am missing two large pieces, which actually these pieces were supposed to be the ones in here, but I needed a floor before I needed the top of the Lego. Big mistake. And the turret gun is backwards, and we really have no ambition of fixing it. And also, the window inside of it was not measured properly and does not fit. So, you know, it is whatever at this point. So, today, I'm going to focus on building sets number 11 and 12. I would love to take this Lego mess and show you guys a time lapse of me building the Lego, but honestly, I don't really see the point in doing that because, I mean, the last time I did that, it was for a leg of a Lego, and it was a very long time lapse, and it was kind of sloppy and whatever. So if I ever post any other Lego time lapses, it'll probably be me building like one of the other Lego sets that I want. I think it would have been cool to potentially have a time lapse for building the totality of, you know, that little Lego set over there, if I can use backwards physics, but no, it's just not worth it. So anyhow, let's work on Lego sets 11 and 12, and we'll see how far we get. Mission du jour for bag number 11 has been conquered in an hour and a half. So we've got these little things here that now have made this effectively one big compartment. And these pieces are fairly sturdy, unlike this one, which I'll fix at some point when I absolutely have to, I guess. Let's go on to starting building the closure for the back with I guess it'd be bag number 12. All right, another like hour-ish of building later, and I got that. So that part's done, and we're starting to add some body to this section. So let's build it up a little bit more, and then it's time for a break for one day. Another hour of building down, bringing us to about 23 hours, and this thing is, I think, stationary for the most part. I mean, it flops around a little bit. This doesn't make sense to me, and I'm hoping that there's more structural support to it eventually. Like, that's the only thing that's supposed to keep it, like, in place here. And even so, like, it goes on right there and just kind of sits there. Like, I'm going to assume that there's something that's going to be holding it down. I'm going to build the other panel for that side that's the same thing as this. Like, I'm going to assume that there's going to be something that holds it down because, like, how else are you supposed to ever pick this thing up again? Like, that's barely held on. That is barely held on. We won't talk about this fiasco here. Like, that's not held on. It's an 8,000 piece Lego. I've now placed almost 6,000 pieces of it. Like, there should be some sort of structural stability to it, but there's just not. Oh, well, at least I finally found the guns. You see, they were in this little bag over here. And these little things. Yeah, there you are. There's your sign. Didn't even realize that that's what those were this entire time. Instructions were not clear enough. So, yeah, like, that's what we're dealing with. Time to spend another hour building the other part of that, and I guess, and then calling it quits for a day. At this point in time, I really just wants to get to the 1000th step to say that I made it that far before I take like probably a 4 or 5 day break from any building. So update, this flap is built to match this flap, obviously, and we were able to figure out what was going wrong up here. As you see, it no longer moves, just like this one. I mean, this one kind of moves, but it's not as bad as it would be. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. It was a matter of these things not lining up properly. So we just kind of improvised a bit on this jobby, and we should be all right. So step 13 will be building these two back flaps, and I think adding something to the center well right there. So let's go do that. After many, many long hours of building, we have reached this point in the Lego set where I am creating sort of the cross junction that will hold the two beams across. I am past step 1000, the most Lego steps I've ever built on a single model, and probably more than the entire Harry Potter collection I have upstairs combined. And this is what we're dealing with. So it looks very nice, luxurious, and sturdy. This part moves, but I soldered it down sort of using one of these little Y Legos. I don't think anybody will really notice or care, except for you guys, because now you know. This thing is pretty loose, and I can't think of any proper way to sort of tack it down. But this thing is in the way. It's floppy, but it's in the way, and same goes for this. So I think we should be okay. Now, I know for a fact, as soon as I finish up everything, I am going to go and buy like a metric ton of this stuff, which is brick shield. And I don't care how glossy it ends up looking. I don't want any part of this falling apart ever. So that's where we're at. We're past step 1000. We are 25 hours into building, and we are on the home stretch now. So looking at where we've come so far, we now have the entire back filled out and effectively stabilized. I have ordered about 2 pounds of brick glue because this stuff is never moving, because look at like how delicate it is. I feel like I could snap, see, just like that, could snap each individual piece off at any moment's notice without actively trying to do so. And I do not want to reassemble this thing ever. Getting this to stick was an absolute nightmare, but we got it. So next we're moving on to book 15. So we are building the external hub that will become, I think, where the this will be where the cockpit, that's the word I'm looking for. I think that's what that's going to be. And we're also just going to fill in some of those gaps up there. As you see, this should be getting filled in along with the side hub. So, book 15 to 17, we are starting on step 1082 out of 1373. 26 hours of building later, we have these little end pieces here, which adds a nice touch, makes it feel like a more complete model. This fell off of something somewhere. I don't really care at this point. Like, several random pieces have fallen off of the model, and I bought 2 pounds of brick glue on Amazon for after this fiasco is finally completed. I honestly do not care that pieces are falling off, because, like, you know, this is 7,000 Lego pieces already placed, and you know, we still have, you know, that piece, that piece, that piece, and then the cockpit to go. So the fact that I'm missing a couple of pieces here and there doesn't really bother me at this point. 26 hours of building later, we now have this part covered. Now, this little jobby here was originally 2 loose pieces, so I just kind of connected them with this bare piece. So that happened. This is very loosey-goosey, so I'm gonna be definitely brick gluing the heck out of that. Next up, we are going to book number 17, no, 16 rather, to build the cockpit. Roughly 26 hours of building later, we have this little thing. The next part that I'm building is going to enclose all of this, and then after that we're off to putting the final touch on the model at long last. And as you see, sat in there we have Chewie and Han Solo, usual pilots as usual. We have started the final part of the grind, bag number 17. So these three parts I'm going to have the better half attached because I have yet to figure out how they are supposed to be sitting. This part is supposed to attach here, but it doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to have to get creative. And then this will go right in there after that's situated, and then that will attach to the side. Then I'm building the centerpiece, and then it's finally all over. So, hour number 27 of building about to begin. As you see, it is finally almost completed. 28 hours of building later. I just need to add the finishing touches. And that is how you build a Millennium Falcon. And I am deathly afraid to pick this thing up, but I'm going to have to because do it for the gram, right? Step 1372 complete. Step 1373 is that can be interchanged for that, and there it is. At long last, she is complete. And I am never building a Lego set beyond 2,000 pieces ever again. As long as I live, that was torture. 28 and a half hours later, over 2 weeks of on and off building, it is finally over. So now, I'm deathly terrified, but it's time to try and pick this thing up. All right. There really is no good way to hold this thing anymore. And, oh God, it feels so friggin' fragile. It is very heavy. As you see, pieces slide around. There's lots of loose pieces in the middle of this Lego part, like that one. I do not care. The next time I'm lifting this thing up is to take it into my backyard and spray about 2 tons worth of brick glue onto it. This has been the Millennium Falcon from AliExpress. It somehow works. It is somehow what I paid for and what I was hoping for, just $530 cheaper. I would not recommend this to a friend unless you are a true masochist like myself, but I hope you enjoyed this series. Next time you watch me build anything, it will be many less pieces than this. See ya.